Welcome to today's edition of American Vision. I'm Harpreet Singh Toor. मेरे वालों आप सबनों प्यार भरी सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार, आदाब and shalom. Before we go into the program, the detailed program, I do have a guest, and before I introduce the guest to you, सब तो पहला ਤਾਂ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਵਾਂ ਸਾਲ ਆ ਉਹ 13 ਤਰੀਕ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ 14 ਨੂੰ ਸੰਗਰਾਂਦ ਵਾਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਇਆ ਔਰ ਇਟਸ ਅ ਲੂਨਰ कैलेंडर दैट्स वॉट इट इज़ और इसे करके जदों अपने बंदे जां कई बारी गल करते जी एक साल दे विच दो बारी गुरपुरब किदां आ जांदा ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਮਝ ਚੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੋ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਾਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਮਾਰਚ ਦੇ ਅੱਧ 'ਚ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੇ ਮਾਰਚ ਦੇ ਅੱਧ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਔਰ ਉਸ ਕੈਲੰਡਰ ਨੂੰ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਉਹ 'ਚ ਇੱਕੋ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਸੋ ਅਗੇਨ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟੌਪਿਕਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਬੈਟਰ ਆਫ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਥਿਓਲੋਜਿਸਟ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਿਸਟੋਰੀਅਨਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਛੱਡ ਦਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਟਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਟੌਪਿਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਕੁਛ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਆਮ ਸੌਰੀ ਟੂ ਸੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਆ ਔਨ ਸਿੱਖਿਜ਼ਮ ਔਰ ਦੁੱਖ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਟੈਕਲ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਆ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਨਾਟ ਜਸਟ ਬੈਕ ਹੋਮ ਇਨ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਬਟ ਇਨ ਅਦਰ ਕੰਟਰੀਜ਼ ਆਲਸੋ ਇਨਕਲੂਡਿੰਗ ਹੀਅਰ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਸਿੰਸ Trump became president, you know, there are some more issues. So looking at that from that perspective, I have a person who is going to stand with us. But first we have to get her elected. And let's first say welcome to her, Jessica Ramos.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come on your show, Harpreet.
No, thanks for coming in. She's actually running from Queens, New York State Senatorial District 13.
Correct.
Okay, and she has complete East Elmhurst, Jackson Heights, Corona, and parts of Astoria and Woodside. And she's actually going to challenge in primary the sitting senator Jose Peralta. Jose Peralta, when he came in, he did promised a lot, but did not deliver anything, especially to our community. He might have done good stuff for his own community, but when you become a senator, you have to go beyond your own community. You got to reach out to everybody who is part of your district. This is New York City. And then within New York City, this is Queens. And within Queens, you have people from 168 countries speaking close to 800 languages. So you should reach out to everybody, at least let them know what kind of services are available through state and federal government and through the city if they can, because city basically comes under city council people, but nothing happened, nothing came out. And on top of that, he decided to he got voted as a Democrat. He decided to go with the Republicans. So she is challenging him, and let us see how it goes. She is very excited, and thanks for coming in again.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having me.
The question, of course, I did talk about it. How he ended up in the Republicans to begin with. Any idea about it?
So I can't speak for him, so I don't know why he made this decision. But I do know how detrimental that decision is to our community.
Okay, so in other words, that's exactly, you answered my question in a way that for me it was like if he went there to bring something good to the community, then he can justify.
Well, yes,
you know,
in theory.
In theory, yeah.
I mean, so on January 25th of 2017, last year, that was the day that Donald Trump announced the Muslim ban for travel. And on that very same day, Jose Peralta announced that he was joining a group called the Independent Democratic Conference, which we call Trump Democrats, because it's a group of 8 state senators who were elected as Democrats. I voted for Jose Peralta as a Democrat, but then he went to Albany and decided to support a Republican majority. And with the person we have in the White House right now, we have to be able to count on our state government to be stable and strong in order to defend us and protect us from any attacks on our neighbors, on our schools, on our environment, and on our pocketbooks.
And believe it or not, those attacks are happening on everything. And on the pocketbooks, yeah, they claim that they gave a tax break, but not to the New Yorkers.
Correct.
It will not happen to the New Yorkers. New Yorkers still have to look at that. Because, this is how I look at it when I look at the map of United States, okay? We have the East Coast, okay? Top East Coast, not the bottom, okay?
Yes.
Then we have the West Coast, which happens to be complete,
Right.
where there is a more understanding about the immigrants, more acceptance of the immigrants, okay?
And that's to be expected. I mean, the West Coast used to be Mexico, right?
Yeah.
So that culture and that sentiment is very vibrant there. But what makes New York so special is that nobody's like New York. We're strong because of everybody who's here. Every single community makes New York City better. We're stronger because of our immigrants. And we have to make sure that our immigrants, who by and large are working class, people who came here to work very hard and increase opportunity for themselves and their children, that they have access to all of the resources and tools that government can offer them.
And at the same time, is not it true that America is a country of immigrants? If we leave out the original inhabitants,
Yes.
the American Indians or Red Indians,
Yes.
quote unquote, whatever they call them, everybody else is an immigrant, and all of a sudden everybody is
That's
trying, some group is trying to push out everybody else.
That's right. Unless you're Native American, you're an immigrant too. Whether you come from a colonizer family, or your family came, it was your grandparents who came to this country, or it was your parents, like me. My parents are Colombian immigrants. I am the daughter of Colombian immigrants, and or if you're an immigrant yourself, which is the case with many dreamers, right? Folks who got here as children very young because their parents brought them here. And we have to fight for them because they're our future. We've already invested, in public education for them to become the best they can be. And we really should be able to reap or sow the benefits of that investment.
Yeah, exactly. That's really a good point, that you do an investment to accept a good return on it, okay? And whether we like or we don't like, the dreamers happen to be one of the cream when it goes down to the schools and universities. And even though it could be the reason that they are dreamers, or they have to look at the life from a different angle than the people who are here, which call themselves either documented, or I always hated the term illegal.
I do not use that word.
No
human
being is illegal, and those people who consider themselves that we are legally here, how you define legally here, so that investment, the return on that investment from these people, that could be the best return, right?
That's why we have to support our small businesses as well. And because in New York City specifically, I think it's around 46% of small businesses are owned by immigrants.
Well, yeah.
Our entire economy is based on the idea of the American dream. And we know that the American dream is getting harder and harder to obtain because New York City is becoming increasingly unaffordable for working families.
That is true. That is true. But at the same time, there is one more factor which is unique to New York City. Okay, it's a world city to begin with.
That's right.
Okay, and the people who come to New York City, they hone their techniques in New York and they move out to other states, right?
Or other counties.
Or other counties. Right. Okay, especially to Long Island. All right?
Yes, I know.
So the question comes in, because you mentioned dreamers, right? On the dreamers, when Governor Cuomo, he offered these free tuitions, the dreamers are part of that free tuition, right?
So the DREAM Act has not passed in New York.
Because of that?
Jose Peralta is the state senator who carries the bill. And the DREAM Act, as you say, is in order, the state has no power over immigration laws. But what the State DREAM Act can do is provide in-state tuition access.
Funding to those
for
dreamers.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because they're New Yorkers too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But that has not passed in the state Senate, which is.
But it has passed in Assembly, right?
It has always passed in the Assembly
okay,
for
so
the
let us
last
take
8
a
years.
break. Yeah, let us take a break. After the break, we will be right back. Welcome back to American Vision. We are going to start right where we left off. We were talking about the dreamers and how in Senate there is one more very important bill which is being held in Senate, which affects our community in particular. We are going to talk about that also. Okay, let's first talk about dreamers, then I will pop up the next question to you.
Yeah, sure. So we were talking about, so Jose Peralta is the senator who carries the DREAM Act, but the only time that it came to a vote, it failed, and it hasn't come to a vote since. It hasn't been included in the budget in these past 7 years, and it's definitely impossible for it to happen when we have a Republican majority. We know that State Senator John Flanagan from Long Island, who is the leader of the state Senate, is not going to call the DREAM Act for a vote. What we need is a true Democratic majority, and that means making sure that these 8 districts that have Trump Democrats have actual real Democrats replace them.
And that also brings us to the point, because you know, the religious garb bill, that is a bill which was brought by David Weprin, which has been passing in New York State Assembly for more than 5 years now, and it is not happening in Senate. And that bill actually gives the, you know, the rights to a person who looks like me, appears like me, you know, with a beard and turban, or a Jewish gentleman, or a Muslim gentleman, or a Muslim lady with a hijab, you know, to serve in, you know, NYPD, the troopers, or any other state agencies. Okay, and that is also being held by state senators. Okay,
I'm very supportive of the bill, not only because I know the tradition of public service of the Sikh community in India and here. I mean, we've seen how NYPD officers who practice Sikhism serve with distinction. And that's really what we need to translate to the state troopers and the New York State Police, making sure that anybody who is fit to serve, fit to protect us, can do so.
You know, it's interesting that brought to my attention. A couple of months back, there was an incident where, you know, somebody threw a jacket with the bulbs lighting back and forth, and there were 2 cops who literally picked it up, drove it to a remote area, and one of the gentlemen, one of the person was a Muslim. One of the
officers. It was in Times Square.
It was in
yes.
It was Times Square or Columbus Circle. I think it was Columbus Circle. Well, it was in Manhattan.
Yes, yes, it was in Manhattan.
It was in Manhattan.
It was a major
area. It was in the major hub.
Okay,
and these people, these 2 cops, they put their life online for everybody else, and one of them happens to be a Muslim.
And thank God, right, that it was a dud.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, those men
but when
were
they picked it up, they had no idea if it is
they
dud
were
or
willing
it is
to
an
make the ultimate sacrifice to protect New Yorkers. And that's what makes New York so strong. So no matter what community you come from, what country you come from, what religion you practice, what you believe in or not, if you're fit to serve, you should. And honestly, I think that community and police relations work best when police officers look like the community they serve.
Oh, yeah, because you become part of then you know, there is a trust which needs to be created.
Absolutely. You know? Well, it's the whole principle of community policing, and making sure that, you know, our police officers know our community in earnest.
And moving onward to, you know, the next section, which is also very important. We were talking about the dreamers, we were talking about the education. New York City is short funded on the students funding, the money which comes, which is supposed to come to the New York City from the state.
It's a crime. What the state is doing with the city is a crime. So I have two small boys. They're 4 and 6 years old. They go to school in Jackson Heights, PS 69. And that school is owed $1.8 million in state funding. And if you add up all of the schools around the district, it's approximately $45 million. And that's money that should be going to helping our teachers buy the supplies that they need in order to supplement their lessons. It's money that should be going to buying everyday products that the schools need in order for it to function. I mean, every September as a mother, I get a list of supplies that of course includes notebooks and markers and regular things, but sometimes they also include tissues, Bounty, and toilet paper. And I don't know about you, Harpreet, but I feel like I pay enough in taxes. And you know, New York City is a donor city. We pay more in taxes than what we receive in resources and services. And that's unfair because who we're affecting is our children.
You know, for me, I don't mind being a big brother, but it doesn't mean that big brother should be blackmailed.
That's right.
Okay. Then the other big issue is, of course, the MTA and the subways.
Oh, I'm so tired of getting stuck on the subway.
I know you don't have a car.
I don't have a car. I don't drive.
You don't drive?
I do not drive,
I
no.
know.
You know, I'll be
a
honest.
typical New Yorker here, somebody
quintessential Queens girl.
Yeah, who can say that I don't own the car, I don't drive.
No,
you know?
I don't have to worry about parking,
Yeah.
but I do have to worry about getting stuck on the 7 train. I mean, just yesterday morning, the 7 train had severe signal malfunctions. This morning, there was a sick passenger at the 82nd Street station, and I can't tell you how many stops of the 7 train were just shut off. So you would see the seas of people walking down Roosevelt Avenue or even walking down Queens Boulevard in Sunnyside, you know, looking for alternative means of getting to work. It happened to me last year. I used to work at City Hall. I got stuck on the 7 train for 2 hours. And, you know, women around me were very upset because they were going to be late to work. One, it was her first day at a new job. The other one was getting paid by the hour. So that means that she was going to lose 2 hours on her paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's real stuff for New Yorkers.
You know, it's what baffles me is that these, the school issues, the school funding issue, the subway funding issue, that how the Republican majority is holding the New York City
hostage.
at a hostage, and the money and the ransom sort of like that, okay? And now with the gun issue also.
Yes.
That's another issue.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, in New York City, look at the crime. Look at the crime, how it has gone down.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, you know, we have these NRA who is pushing concealed weapon anywhere, any state, right?
Yeah.
And I think yesterday or day before yesterday, the House passed a bill which goes to the Senate, where they have included this concealed weapon allowance that you can take the weapons across the borders, right? So on that part, the arming the teachers, allowing the weapons.
I'm shaking my head. I'm like, no arming teachers, no guns near my children. Thank you.
I mean, you know, what baffles me is because you have worked more closely with the elected officials from the City Hall and the others. So I'm just trying to, you know, maybe get some sense out of if you have worked around with some of the Republicans at that time, that what they are thinking, or even if they are thinking.
Well, New York State has some of the toughest gun laws in the country,
that
thankfully.
Is true. That
However,
is true.
We do see that many of the guns that are confiscated or involved in crimes in New York actually were purchased, come from other states. So the smuggling of guns into the state is a serious issue. When it comes to school safety, I am not a fan of having, teachers are for teaching, and I don't believe that they should preoccupy themselves with security.
I agree with you because teachers are there to teach
That's right.
Not to teach how to use the gun.
And our kids are there to learn. And look, as parents, right? As both of us are parents, we know that we want our kids to be safe all day wherever it is that they go. But it's proven that when guns are around children or really around anyone, there is more of a tendency for an accident or a bad situation to happen.
Yeah.
We haven't seen shootings in New York State for a reason. I mean, I think
that's exactly what one of the major reason is, because we do have those laws. Yeah, it doesn't mean that we still don't have the gun violence or anything.
Sure.
But at the same time, because of the laws which protect the individuals here, we are more safe.
Yes,
as compared to
what
we have right now. What, about 11,000 homicides in the whole U.S. every year from the guns?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and murders in New York are down every month.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're doing a great job of creating solidarity between countries, right? And that's what's great about New York and the diversity of Queens and of my district specifically. My state Senate district is one of, if not the most diverse in the entire country, is that by living in close quarters, we get to know each other and realize that we have more in common than different.
Okay. We have few minutes left, like maybe 2 minutes left. What is there something which you are thinking that you will bring besides what we have discussed so far, which the people should look at? That, okay, here's somebody, I know you are a very reachable, approachable person, that I know, so you don't need to say that.
I am.
Right?
I do. I love dealing with people.
Yeah, but beyond that, what you will bring to the table for the community?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that I will vote as a Democrat. Being elected as a Democrat means that I will vote with the Democratic Party to choose our leader as the leader of the state Senate. And that means that we are creating the political environment for all of these bills that are being held hostage in the state Senate to actually come out for a vote. So I would support measures like single-payer health care, meaning that every New Yorker would have access to quality health care. And I would support the DREAM Act and all of the bills that we've also talked about. Something that I'm looking at very seriously is how we can help small businesses directly, how we can help more people formalize their businesses, how we can help small businesses that are being successful expand. Our work economy is changing. We order things online more and more from Amazon, anywhere else. So we are seeing that these small businesses that do are attracted to our economic corridors are often restaurants and bars and entertainment driven, and we really need to find ways to protect them and help them expand. What we don't want to see is chains like Target in Jackson Heights or anywhere else in my district. We're a district of immigrants, of hard-working class, middle-class people, and we intend to keep it that way.
In 15 seconds.
15 seconds is Election Day is Thursday, September 13th. I'm running for State Senate in District 13. I hope to count on your support. If you would like to learn more about the campaign, my website is www.ramos, R-A-M-O-S, forstatesenate.com, and I hope to count on your support and on your vote Thursday, September 13th.
Again, that is on Thursday, September 13th, not Tuesday, Thursday, because on September 11 it's a Jewish holiday also, and of course 9/11. With that note, till next time, good night and good luck.